So it's now been 1 year since I started learning piano. This week was the week that, well, maybe not this week, maybe it's a week or so late, maybe a little bit, but this has been 1 year now since I started learning piano. In this video, I want to go into what have I learned, what can I improve on and whatnot into my second year of playing piano now with the teacher. So first off, piano has taught me patience. When I went into this, I did actually think, I did have that naive brain of going, maybe this won't take as long as I thought, maybe I'll get good fairly quickly, maybe in 6 months I'll be playing what I want to do. No, it's not like that at all. It's taken longer than I expected to learn things that I want to learn. In reality, I've only really learnt about 5 songs fully all the way through, and those were the graded pieces, and those really aren't that difficult or hard to do, but they did take a very long time for me to grasp and to keep going. Currently on grade 2, I am getting quite stuck on some places, and I've now been doing grade 2 since July, and it's turning out to be a lot more tricky than I thought, especially with rhythm and whatnot. But the important thing is there is actually progression, and I think as long as there's progression, that's going to keep me moving forwards, no matter how long it takes. But it has definitely taken longer than I thought it was going to take. But it is also important to remember that, of course, this is only my circumstance. I work full time, I do YouTube as a hobby, so there is not that much time I get to practice, and I do think if I had a lot more time to practice, then there probably would have been more quicker improvement. It's also taught me to be accountable. I would be lying if I said that every single day I've sat down at the piano and practiced every single day for like an hour, 2 hours, but no. Turns out most weeks I am turning up to my teacher saying how I couldn't practice, which is obviously on me. That's my accountability. If I don't sit there and practice, I'm not going to improve, which of course ties into the first point of being patient. But it's also a case of not making any excuses for myself. I do find myself making quite a lot of excuses like, but I have to make a YouTube video, or, I really need to catch up on that show that I haven't watched. It's like I need to stop making those excuses, and it holds me accountable to say, you're not improving for no one's fault other than your own. It's you who's got to make this work, and if you don't do it, you're not going to move anywhere. So it's definitely taught me to be a bit more accountable. It's also shown me that some things are more difficult than I thought they were going to be. For example, scales have turned out to be quite tricky. I always find the fingering on them is a lot more tricky, and I'm struggling to grasp that even a year in. Definitely coming in and down, I know the notes, but I can mix up the fingerings, or in some cases I mix up the notes and get the fingering nailed on. It's proving to be a bit difficult, but there's progression, which is the important thing. And the second point of that would actually be memorization. Memorization, I don't get it. I can't memorize those pieces. Honestly, the professional pianists who can do entire concertos without having the sheet music in front of them. How do you guys do it? Please teach me your ways. But I've also gained a lot more passion. The more I dive into the piano, the more excited I seem to get every time I go to the piano, the more harder the pieces get. Of course, it's very overwhelming at first, but when I start to get them, it's amazing. Like in my A piece that I'm currently doing for grade 2. In fact, let me get you the name. I'm not going to attempt the name, but this is my A piece for grade 2. And the moment I managed to nail down bar 9 at the third line down, I got so excited because I felt like there was progression and I'd move forward, and it got me very excited, and now I just sit down at the piano and do that little bit. In fact, let me just show you that now, why not? You get the idea. Filming gets a lot harder than it is when you're on your own. But it really is true. I'm getting more and more into piano the more I go into it, the more I listen to it in my car, the more I go to, piano concerts. It's insane. I really am gaining more love for this instrument the more that I play it. And now, of course, it's on to the future. What's coming up? What do I want to improve for this year? One thing I definitely want to improve on is definitely filming more of my progress. I realized that last year I would only really film it once I'd absolutely nailed down the piece to a T, and then I'd sit there for 10-20 minutes at a time. It makes me tempted to do just monthly updates. No matter where I am in the pieces, I can just go, hey, this is where I'm at with said pieces. I'm not too sure. Don't hold me to that. But something like that. So I want to keep recording these, and I want to record them more, because if I don't record them more, then there's not really much progression, is there? I've learned a piece. So I really want to focus on trying to film the pieces a lot more and film my progression even more. But also on that, I want to practice more. Going back to accountability, I really want to sort of force myself to practice more, because I do find myself being quite lazy and not practicing as much as I should. And I know I could probably progress a little bit quicker if I practiced a bit more. Not rush it, but also not being as lazy as I am. Just a little bit more of a push for me to actually practice and get the pieces down. But also I want to try and get on new pieces and not just stick with the graded pieces, to try and practice more, because sitting down at the piano and just doing graded pieces I've found to be quite taxing, and it's kind of just every time I go to the piano I'm just like, oh, I have to learn that piece that I don't like. Oh. But like, I can sit at the piano, and I know I've played a couple Genshin songs on there, which is quite fun, even if it's just a sight reading practice. Just, it's practice, isn't it? So, you know, someone correct me in the comments, someone yell at me, please. But yeah, that's 1 year. That's 1 year of piano. That's 1 year in. So I think I've done quite well. I'm really pleased of my progress. Obviously, I've got my grade 1 exam done, and I'm really hoping by the end of next year I'll have my grade 2 in my hands as well, and that one can go on the wall in the other room. But thank you all so much for watching these progressions, even though there haven't been many, and supporting me, especially when I did my exam, seeing the support of people going, it's okay, you know, when I thought I'd failed it and people were giving me support, that really did mean an absolute ton. So thank you guys for that. It really means the world to see that people are interested in seeing the progression, so thank you all so much. Here's to the next year, I guess. Thank you all for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ra.